Welcome to the live demo for May 7th, 2026 for TechIDManager. What is TechIDManager? What it does, a live showing of the product, doing what it does for MSPs related to privileged account management. That's what we're going to cover today. This is for people who have not seen TechIDManager, not sure what it is. We're going to cover that. If you are familiar with TechIDManager, you'll probably want to join our PM cast. That is for existing TechIDManager partners, people who know what TechIDManager does, who want to know what TechIDManager and Ruffian software did over the last month and where we're headed for the next month. That you can find on our website at techidmanager.com. Today, we're going to cover what it is. So what is TechIDManager? TechIDManager is a privileged account management package for managed service providers. It's a mouthful, a bunch of acronyms, PAM for MSPs. What that means is that we help MSPs be compliant with cybersecurity requirements when it comes to identity management and access management for their technicians accessing their clients' infrastructure. This is really all those cybersecurity guidelines and frameworks and all the talk about identity management stuff. It's a unique problem for MSPs because of the variety of places that technicians need access. All of the words around it, which get real complicated, really come down to one thing. Each technician, when they access an environment of one of your clients, needs to do it in a manner that is traceable and accountable to them. There are many voices you'll hear talking about this, but it really is just that simple. So simple that every technician needs a unique account everywhere that they need to access. Those accounts need to be for them. They need password rotation, they need account protection, they need rights set so that they are least privileged in the environment, and so they just have access to do what they need to do. As simple as that sounds, the math problem that gets involved with an MSP and the number of places that technicians have admin accounts makes it a simple problem that is hard to scale up. If you were a one-man MSP with 3 clients, you could go make your own account at each of those places, good to go. As an MSP scales up, when you get to 5 technicians, 10 technicians, 100, 200, it becomes real difficult to get that traceability and accountability for every technician everywhere they need access. That accountability also needs to be looked at from 2 different lenses and viewpoints and perspectives. One, the MSP needs to be able to tell what a technician did. And 2, the auditor from a client's perspective needs to be able to tell what individual performed what acts on their network. These 2 perspectives and viewpoints mean that you really do need a unique account for each person everywhere they need access. There are some policies and procedures where you can do shared account access. If you have logging and tracing, there are some where you can do different things. But if you really want to be correct for CMMC, SOC 2, HIPAA, ISO 9000 or 27001, all of those, it's a unique account for each person. Named account, managed for them, all that kind of stuff. If you step a little bit further and deeper into those cybersecurity requirements, you'll find that there are lots of other details. So many of them. We have taken all of that, automated it, wrapped it into TechIDManager, where we automate the creation of the accounts, we automate the right setting, we automate the injection of the credentials, we automate everything about those privileged accounts, and we add to that all that auxiliary stuff that goes along with technician PAM for MSPs, such as password vaulting, credential management, all that kind of stuff. That's a lot of words. Let's do what you came here for. Let's look at the product itself and see how it works. TechIDManager really comes down, from the technician's viewpoint, it is the TechID client. It is the piece on the screen right here. Each line is a place that TechIDManager has made or maintains an account for me as a technician. It's real specific. It does what it does on the Manage Password tab. Each of these accounts grants access somewhere to a different type of system. We can do Windows, local Windows computer accounts. We can do domain accounts. We can do Mac accounts. We can do Entra ID accounts. And there are agents coming that are going to do a variety of other types of accounts. All that's good and well. What's important is how a technician uses these accounts. So let's bring up ConnectWise Control or Screen Connect if you've been around long enough. What we have here is we have the common problem that TechIDManager solves. A technician goes to connect to a system and they are faced with a login prompt, an elevation prompt, some prompt that says they need a username and a password to do whatever it is their job as a technician is to do. I can see that to get logged in here, I need an account for the 𝗫 domain. As a technician, I bring up the TechID client. Somewhere in this list of accounts, could be 10 accounts, could be 10,000 accounts. I'm just going to click search windows. And when I did that, the TechID client went out on my computer and looked at all the windows that open. And if you'll notice, I actually have 2 remote connection windows open. If I minimize one of them and I click search again, it says, oh, you now only have 1 window open that you really might want this account for. That is this 𝗫 domain account. This I can see as a 𝗫 domain account. It is unique to me. This is my username. I could copy my username, paste it. I could copy my password, paste it in there. But much easier, I just want to directly inject my credentials and get logged in. So I'm going to tell it to send both my username and password to the remote connection application. It's going to inject my username and password. It does this for any remote connection tool. Screen Connect, RDP, Ninja Remote, Say Alive, all of them, Splashtop, whatever. And it gets you logged in with the account. So now I'm logged in as a technician to this machine with an account that I know is my account, has my name on it. It has a password that's rotated sometime in the last 24 hours. If I look here, I can see this password is rotated this morning around midnight. Everything I do is now logged to me with an account specific to this domain. So no matter if the MSP goes back and looks at logs files, they can tell who did it. If an auditor or someone on the client's infrastructure decides they need to know and they look at log files, they can see who did it. There is no question. Everything is traced and accounted. Very straightforward. This has a phenomenal number of benefits when it comes to accountability and traceability and cybersecurity compliance, insurance requirements, all those things. It also has the subconscious benefit that a technician is no longer hiding behind the anonymity of an account that everybody uses. It's not a shared account. This has his name on it, her name on it, their name on it. When they do something, it's logged to them. This has the subconscious effect of raising the professionalism because there's no hiding. That's one way that you can get logged in as a TechIDManager technician. We have a variety of ways, and we are continually improving them. A second way that you can use these accounts. Here's another machine I want to get logged into. Face the login machine here. I'm going to use our tech login tile. This tile will present a list of technicians in TechIDManager that has access to this machine. I'm going to choose my name, and when I do that, a request is sent back to my TechID client just so that I can see it, to allow me to automatically send my credentials asymmetrically encrypted over the internet back to that machine. And you can see before I can even get back to that window, I'm logged in as Martin, as me, account unique to me, ready to get logged in. We can see that was on this desktop lab machine. If we come in here and look, this unique Windows account is the account that we used for that. We could have looked in the login request, it had all that information in it. So there are several ways you can configure TechIDManager to allow you to log into a machine, whether using domain accounts, Entra ID accounts, unique accounts, shared accounts, whatever. There are a lot of ways. Speaking of other types of accounts, so we looked at this account and we looked at 𝗫 account. You notice they are blank right here. These icons indicate the types of accounts that TechIDManager can create or maintain for a technician. We have looked at 2 of the managed accounts that are there, their passwords rotated, the account's protected, the account access is always there. The access can work offline as well as online. There are also just-in-time accounts, such as this Entra ID account or this Mac account or even this domain shared account. In order to use one of the just-in-time accounts, a manager at some time in the past for TechIDManager said, I, as a technician, can have access to this place with these rights. When I want it, I can enable that account. So I come in here, I select that account, I click enable. This turns to orange hourglass. Sometime in the next 60 seconds, that account, and it's already done as you can see here. Sometime in the next 60 seconds, that account is to be created if it doesn't exist, enabled. The rights that the manager in the past said I could have are given to that account. Password is set and encrypted on and sent back so that just I can see it. Then Anywhere that this account grants me access, I have access to do whatever I need to do with the rights that are granted to me. These could be global admin, domain admin, enterprise admin, or global reader, or any of the 200 plus rights in Azure, or any of the rights on a domain or an individual Windows computer, such that I only have access to do what it is that I should do. I am not using a shared administrator account with unlimited godlike authority when I, as a technician, should just be managing backups. My account for managing backups just has the permissions that I need to do that. This really matches the paradigm of least privileged access for a person with a role, which is something that you really should consider and do for MSPs. If you're in a smaller MSP where everybody has godlike permissions, we totally support that. If you're a larger MSP where people have limited roles and accesses, and there's a group that does management or a pod that does this kind of thing, or certain tier 1 technicians that can only reset a user's password and do a few minor things, all of that's rights. All those rights layouts can be done and managed in TechIDManager. Very straightforward and very simply. So this account that I enabled is going to stay enabled for some duration of time. By default, that's 2 hours. After that duration of time, the account is going to be automatically disabled. All the rights removed from the account. A password set on that account that is told to no one. It's made up in memory, set on the account, and then deleted from memory and never saved, never sent anywhere. So that account, for all intents and purposes, is dead. It's still in 𝗕𝗏𝐼D or AD or on the machine, but it's a non-active, dead account with no rights. It can't do anything, and a password that was never told to anybody. It's important that that account is not deleted, so that the next time that same technician needs access to that same place just in time, that same account is re-enabled, rights re-provisioned to it, a new password set and sent back to them. It's the same UUID, the same identifier, the same technician name, that is a readable version of their name, like martin.mit at wherever. That means that through time, you get continuity of logging and continuity of access. There's no jumping between different random usernames are generated like you'll see with some other tools. This is the person's name. This account was disabled. Now it was enabled. They used it. It was disabled. And you can tell what they did during that time frame. We have logging for all of that. All of that is also directly logged on all of these systems. 𝗕𝗏𝐼D, domains, Macs, Windows, whatever. They log all of that also. So you have multiple places where you get the log file from. You can do SIM ingestion from all those, same ingestion from all those places. Phenomenal. There's organizational structures over here if you want to organize things in different ways, whatever your client hierarchy is. We support all of that. There's also full history for all these accounts, all that kind of thing. Since TechIDManager is managing usernames and passwords for technicians to access client infrastructure, there's a lot of other username and password stuff that needs to be saved. All of that should be in one tool, is our opinion. So we also have a personal password vault where you can put whatever you want, as well as a shareable password vault that allows you to share credentials and passwords between technicians for those things in places where it makes sense. The vaults are cryptographically secure entities where everything is asymmetrically encrypted, end-to-end encrypted. That means that we, as TechIDManager, are storing hundreds of millions of accounts, privileged accounts for around the world for a variety of different industries, but all of them are encrypted, and they're encrypted at rest while traveling with encryption keys that we don't have. It's a very minor technical point, but it has such deep implications that we can't, even with godlike access to all of the data that we have, your credentials are unreadable, never used. It is the TechID client application on the technician's computer that has the private key to decrypt the credentials that they should have access to, and only the credentials that they should have access to. It sounds so trivial, it sounds so minor, but it is a massive distinguisher when it comes to actual security and the way the data is really encrypted and transmitted around the internet. Buried in several of the sites. Here, I'm going to step over on my little soapbox, which my wife often hands to me and says, here, you talk about your little soapbox issue. This is a soapbox issue of mine. Data encryption. When you say something is encrypted at rest and encrypted in transit, that does not mean it's unreadable. That simply means that it's encrypted at rest and encrypted in transit. There's a point between where it's at rest and where it's in transit that most tools have the keys to read it. And it is that point where a lot of credential theft happens. TechIDManager, it is encrypted end to end. So that period where it's sitting on the disk, but the key is sitting right beside it, we don't have that. We don't have the keys to access your data. Your data is yours. You have the key for it, encrypted end to end. We even go one step further on that. The whole product is self-hostable. That means that you can self-host the databases and the servers for TechIDManager so that we don't even have access to the servers, and you can look at all the data and see for yourself that you can't see those credentials. Very powerful technological differentiator from any other privileged account management package on the market. Anyway, I will step off my little soapbox now and continue with the demo. So there's a fully featured password vault. There's notes. If you go to look at something, I don't know, look at my Netflix password. There are notes attached to every password. There are details, there are notes. You can have whatever you want in there. A lot of features. And you can organize these hierarchically also in a tree of leaves, and you can choose which technicians you share which vaults with. There are vaults that you can share so that people can see what's in the vault. There are vaults that you can share so that people can see the vault exists but not see what's in it because they don't have the encryption keys for it. And then there are other vaults that you can choose to not let be visible to everybody and only let certain people see them. There is a lot of access control around this. And there's full tracing and logging. If you go into our portal and you look at our reports, you have the activity log of everything that happens in the system. You can see here I enable account. I made the request to enable the account for the just-in-time account that I was showing you. At 11:25, you can see here 5 seconds later at 1:11 and 30 seconds, it was enabled. Very quickly enabling the Mantra ID accounts and domain accounts. You can see the login request was approved here by me to get logged in. Everything that happens in the system logged so that you can see it and know what happened. That's the general gist of what TechIDManager does. We do everything around privileged account management, passwords, credentials, password rotation for MSP technicians when it comes to accessing client infrastructure and even internal infrastructure. We think it is the best tool on the market. It has a lot of built-in serious security, the bunch of MFA built in, all that kind of stuff. We would love to talk to you specifically one-on-one and show you how this would fit in your environment, make your technicians safer, make you more compliant, and make technicians more efficient. Because as you saw when I logged in, both times that I logged in, I went from the login prompt to logged in 3 button clicks. I didn't have to didn't have to look up anything. I didn't have to type anything. Just click, 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 in, done. Finds the credentials for me, enters them for me. Very quick, very efficient. All right. So that is the conclusion of the overview of TechIDManager, a live demo of TechIDManager. You saw us use the tool. You saw us log in 2 different ways with different ways that we provide that really make it efficient for technicians to do privileged account management. It makes it efficient for managers to manage all of the accounts because accounts are automatically made and managed for technicians everywhere they need access. Love to talk to you. Check us out, techidmanager.com. The top right corner, there's a button if you'd like a one-on-one demo where we can show you how it applies to your environment and talk about your specific concerns and needs. Have a great rest of your week. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.